Friday morning conversation with
Chris Tomlin and Blessing Offor.
Well, let's all clap our hands for our friends here today.
Yeah.
As you can hear. Chris, good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you, man. It's great to be back.
Although, I guess first time in here, huh?
Yes. I was.
You're a big deal. I'm just telling you, when you came over to my house.
Made it to the official studio.
Well, no, what? Not that order. I wanted to sit with you for like an hour because that's what we did before and get to know you. And so many people reached out and they were like, "We can't believe you know Chris Tomlin." And I'm like, not only that, I got a cell phone number and we text. So you made me look real cool. Yeah. And Blessing, first time meeting you.
Dude, first time, this is a big deal. My friends think I'm cool now.
Okay, so
Just
it all goes
FYI.
around. My friends think I'm cool about Chris, you. Yes, it's all one of those.
It's cool transference, really.
So, Chris, I want to start with you for a second. I want you to tell me about Blessing, first of all. So, I know that you signed Blessing to your label.
Yes.
What about Blessing is so special?
My goodness, how long do we have here this morning? Blessing is one of the most special people I've ever got an encounter with music. And a friend of mine, the guy who produced my records several years ago, played me a song. He said, "Man, you got to hear this song." He played this song called Tin Roof, and I was so floored by it. I was like, wow. And I said, "Who is this guy?" He said, "His name is Blessing." And I was like, "Well, you don't forget a name like that." And he gave me a bit of his story and shared me his story, which I'm sure you guys will get into. But I was really moved by that, and I just kind of stocked that away. I was like, I remember that song. And when I was making I was making this record, Chris Tomlin and Friends, right, with all the country guys, and and I was thinking, it just hit me one day. I was like, you know what? I've got all of these artists on this record that everybody knows. I would love, and I was thinking about, and I kept coming back to this song, Tin Roof, and I thought it was one of the very best songs I'd ever heard written. In fact, I played it for Shane McAnally, and I played it for Shane, and Shane said, "If that is not Song of the Year, I don't know what is." And it's just that kind of song.
He kept that from you, Blessing.
I didn't know that part. I'm going to cry.
And so I'm just, and I remember that. I was like, you know what? I would love to end this record with that song and find a way for people to hear it, because no one's heard this song. And I was like, maybe people will pay attention to this record and then they will hear this guy named Blessing. And so I said, I called up Blessing, figured out how to get a hold of Blessing, and I said, I want to come meet you. And I went to his apartment. And when I went to his apartment, I'm going there, and I'm walking in, and I can just hear the piano playing. And I knock, and he's like, "Come on in." And I walk in, and I'm just sitting there going, I'm thinking, I don't know who this person is. How do I interact with this person? How do I get to know him? And he's sitting at the piano. We start playing, and he starts playing some songs, and we start talking about music, and start gathering around, and then he started telling me, and I just asked him, I said, "Man, I hear you do concert. You go out and do gigs and concerts. How you do that?" For those of you who don't know, Blessing lost his sight years and years ago. And so I was like, "How do you do that?" And I said, "You do that by yourself." And he starts telling me. He said, "Well, I get an Uber and they drop me off." And he goes, "They drop me off at the airport, and a sky cap comes and picks me up at the Uber and takes me to the plane, and then puts me on the plane. And then when I get off the plane, a sky cap comes and takes me off, and then I get in an Uber and I go to the venue. Go to the hotel, and then the guy comes and picks me up, and I go to the venue and I play the concert, and I do that all the way back home." And I'm thinking, the grit you have to have to do that. I'm like, this guy, and I was like, "You do that?" And I think how much I don't like it, and all the ease I have, and just how much more struggle and how much more things to overcome, and thinking about playing the concerts and all the things, and I was just like, okay, he's an absolute joy. I mean, I've never met somebody who's filled with more joy in their life, and I thought people need to know this guy's music, because he's got a lot to bring to people, and people can relate. If anybody's ever gone through struggle, or maybe they've gone through things, they could relate to Blessing's story. And he has this incredible gift. And not only that, but he's, as you'll hear, one of the best singers and players I've ever heard play music. And so, and just the songwriting, it's just, can I say one other thing? Somebody sent me a Dropbox.
Chris, you can keep going.
Somebody sent me a Dropbox of Blessing. And they said, here's some songs. You should hear more of his songs. If you like Tin Roof, they sent me this Dropbox, Bobby, and I hit the Dropbox open, and it was, if I showed it to you, you can just scroll hundreds of songs. And I was like, who is this guy? And I would just randomly pick songs. Everything I would listen to is just him on the piano. I was like, my goodness, what kind of treasures in here of all these songs? And so just incredible songwriter and writes with so many different people. But I just thought there's any way I could help this guy, people hear his music. And now, man, the floodgates open from Coca-Cola to the Kardashians to the Grey's Anatomy to wherever he finds himself to find his music is pretty cool.
That's the greatest intro I've ever heard for a
That
single person ever. Yeah.
is-
Blessing, look at that. I mean, of
I
all
don't
the,
even want to play anymore.
and I've seen some really cool like wrestling intros, and that one still is better. Blessing. That's the greatest of all time. Okay. Well, I know this part wasn't planned here, but he built up Tin Roof so much. Can you give us a little bit of that, Blessing? Is that
Yeah.
possible?
And-
Because I just
and-
want to imagine it.
Oh man, listen. And then the other thing is, a friend to the room. Her name is she's a upstart songwriter, Natalie Hemby. I wrote this with her. You know, I think she's got a career somewhere.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good one. Yeah.
I believe in her, guys. And we wrote this song in about 45 minutes. She said to me, "What do you want to write about?" And I said, "I want to write about the sound of rain on a tin roof." I'm from Nigeria, and I haven't been home in forever. Actually, I came to the States when I was 6, and I haven't been home ever since. And so I said, "I miss the sound of rain on a tin roof." And so she says, "That's what we're going to write about."
So you say you came to America at 6. Why did you come to the States?
So initially, my uncle played professional soccer, immigrant nonsense, came here, got a bunch of degrees, is a lawyer now. And when I was born with glaucoma, so I was born blind in my left eye. I could see my right eye. And he was like, "Well, let's bring Blessing to America to treat this." So we came here, and as life sometimes goes, I got shot in the eye with a water gun in the good eye.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's one of those things where it's so unlikely that it's hilarious. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Bobby's like, "Is hilarious?"
Well,
the
you know what's
word?"
crazy is my right eye doesn't work, right? It never has.
Yeah.
Since I was born. I wore a patch as a kid.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
So I wear
We're
glasses.
half blind brothers.
And the reason I wear glasses for most of my life was just to protect my one good eye.
Yes. Oh, you did that too?
Yeah.
Like when you played, they made you wear the goggles.
And I had to wear a patch first just to try to fix the bad one. They put it over the good one. That didn't work. And they were like, "Well, it's in your brain." So my eye wouldn't fix, but I would wear glasses just to make sure that nothing hit me in the other eye.
Okay.
But
so
you got hit. That's unbelievable.
You will appreciate this. I was literally, the second before this happens, draining hoops just in my backyard, just like Michael Jordan style hooks. You know what I mean? And the kid across the street was like, "Blessing, let's play with water guns." And I was like, "Man, I got to go to an amusement park." And he goes, "No. From like 2 feet from me. And I was like, "Oh man, now I'm all wet." And I didn't know anything had happened. Do you know what I mean? And it took about 24 hours for me to be like, "Oh, this isn't good." You know what I mean? So from that was like this emergency surgery thing. It was a lot. So that weirdly happened. And as that's happening, we get a piano in the house. So all that outside energy I put to the piano. And weirdly enough, fell in love with playing music. I was taking lessons before, but I wasn't taking it seriously. But then I had all this energy, man, and all this time to just fall in love with this stuff. And so it's, funny, kismet, God, how the awful things pave the way for all the good, beautiful stuff. So here we are now, you know?
What's up with Blessing the name?
Right?
In Nigeria, my name's so common.
There's a lot of people named Blessing. It's like Smith.
Yeah,
The first name. Like this is.
It's definitely like, if not Smith, then like Jason.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So Blessing's a common name. Does it mean the same thing as it means to us?
So on my, I speak a language called Igbo. So blessing in my language is Ngozi. That's how you'd say it. But my birth certificate says Blessing. Yeah. So blessing Offor, Offor.
Well,
Yeah,
Bobby means
wow.
man with muscles.
There you
in
go.
America. You may not know that, but that is what that
Bobby
means.
means pirate.
Yes, it did for a while, for sure. Amy's son loves Brighter Days.
Oh man.
Oh,
Amy,
yeah.
thank you.
That's like his jam.
What's your son's
Such
name?
his jam. His name is Stevenson.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's Haitian. He also came to America around that age, 7 years old.
Really?
And so he loves Christian music.
Yeah.
Like when I pick him up from school,
Yes.
he immediately puts that on, or anytime we get in the car. And like there's so many songs that come on where he's like, shh, stop talking. We have to like jam out to
Mother,
this.
stop.
Yeah. And yeah, your stuff is, I just was freaking out when you were coming in because I was like, well, I'm going to start videoing whenever he starts
Oh, my
performing because I'm going to take the video home and he'll think that I'm the coolest because I met you.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, this studio already feels like home. So I really appreciate the welcome. This has been amazing.
Well, there's a huge Sonic cup beside you.
Excellent.
Yeah, just so you know. Wait, yeah.
Is that for me?
No, it just sits there, but if you want to drink out of it, you can.
It's like a mystery Sonic cup?
It is. Yeah, we never know what's in there.
I'm going to hold off.
Well, and Stevenson, just to be clear, Chris, Stevenson loves your songs too. So.
No, I don't take anything. I totally get it. I mean, I like Blessing better than me.
Oh
for
my
sure.
God. I like Chris. Wait,
I'm
can I
saying-
tell you guys a funny story? When I introduced Tin Roof on the road, I always go, I got a phone call from an unknown number, and it said, "This is Chris Tomlin, and I'm Nigerian, and I know how these scams work." And like, I always go, the old "this is Chris Tomlin" trick.
Yes, yes. Chris, Blessing, Good Friday Nashville happens tonight. So this has been running for a long time. And Chris, I'll have you speak on this. So Blessing's going to be there with you.
Yes, he is.
So what do you guys do? What's happening here?
Yeah, so every year we do Good Friday Nashville. I've done it for 7 years now at the Bridgestone Arena, and it's a moment to gather and for all the different streams of the church for Easter weekend. To have a moment for Nashville, for Middle Tennessee, for all the surrounding areas to come. And I would have never dreamed it would turn into what it's turned into. But every year it's a night of worship, and then I'll have guest artists that are with me as well. And we've had so many people through the years, but this year, Blessing's one of those. And I can't think of a more appropriate, more timely song for what Nashville's been going through than this song in this moment, and where it will come in the night and what's going on and all the things we're going to be doing in this night. So it's going to be very, very powerful.
So we'll come back in a second more with Chris Tomlin and Blessing. But again, Good Friday Nashville for everybody listening locally in Nashville, Bridgestone Arena, 7 p.m. But also for everybody listening all over the country right now, there's a live stream on YouTube and Facebook that begins at 7 Central. So you can kind of do the math there. Although I struggle with time zones. 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. I got to walk it all down.
You got it.
Because we're in all the time zones.
Wait, there's also like Hawaiian and Alaskan, but it's fine.
Blessing, you're going to mess with me now. I'm going to have to start saying that too, because we do have an affiliate in Alaska, and now I feel like I've neglected them. Now I feel like a bad person. So if you're listening to this all over the country, tonight you can watch the Good Friday Nashville on a live stream, YouTube, Facebook, beginning at 7 Central. So just kind of do the math and figure out what time zone you're in, and you can watch that. And you've been doing this 7 years, Chris?
7 years.
How did this start? Well, why and where and all that?
Yeah, back when I lived in Houston, we started doing Good Friday there, and just for up in the Woodlands. And then when I lived in Atlanta, we started Good Friday Atlanta. And so moving to Nashville, I was like, okay, I've done this in these different cities where I've lived, and I thought this could be an incredible moment. I did not know where we would meet, because I had done a few concerts here, and then my team said, well, I think we should do the Bridgestone Arena. I'm like, Bridgestone Arena? Are you kidding me? That's not going to be that many people show up. It's going to fill up the floor. It's going to be embarrassing. What are you talking about doing Bridgestone? And they're like, no, I really think this could be amazing. And the first year, just incredible. 15,000 people or so came, and I was just like, what is happening? And as it was, and you'll appreciate this, I think, Bobby, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this every year, I don't feel like this should be a place where I make any money from this. This feels weird, and especially it's Easter and all the things. I said, I just want to give whatever the profits come, whatever proceeds come. I just want to give away to something that really helps kids and helps people in Nashville and whatever's coming. And so I all of a sudden had this windfall of money because I didn't think that many people were coming, and now I was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with this? And so every year we have poured into the vulnerable kids across Nashville, across the state of Tennessee, have built a lot of things just through this concert. A lot of things have happened over the last 7 years, and this year we're going to obviously highlight what's going on with the Covenant and also the police force, and this year, and just give back in that way. And so it's a time of obviously coming together on Good Friday, Easter weekend, the weekend of for the people of faith, of our hope that we have in this world, and remembering the cross, remembering the grace of God in our life, and that's what this is about. And it's just been so special. Max Lucado speaks in the night. Max is of all the people who've written books in Christianity. He's the biggest selling of all time of any author. He's sold over 100 million books, just himself, just his books. And he's had incredible influence with people around the world in his writings. And he's partnered with me every year because I feel like he's kind of this grandfatherly. He would hate me say that, but this grandfatherly voice that has been around for 40, 50 years now and has been so trusted throughout the years. And so it's for someone who can speak to the entire nation and people who are listening all over the world, it's turned into Good Friday worldwide. And COVID happened. COVID happened, and we had to shift, and we just started doing it through TV and online. And now we've kept the online and live streaming, but still doing it in Nashville. And we'll see how many years it goes, but it still has so much incredible. People have responded in an incredible way.
Time Magazine said you're the most often sung artist in the whole world. I didn't know that. It makes sense when they start to do the math. 'Cause my wife's only been excited like 3 people ever that's come over to my house or even been here. She does not. It's really not her thing. And so one was Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn, who we're very close with. She was like, Ronnie's coming over? I'm going to go. The other one was you. And she was like, Chris is coming over? Chris Tomlin? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, let me see how many songs I can name. She sang like 13 in a row. I don't know 13 songs from anybody, Chris. And I'm like, how do you know every word to all those songs? She goes, we sang them at church.
Yeah.
Like, for me, we did a lot of old school hymns. It was Rock of Ages, we didn't get to sing cool Chris Tomlin stuff, but she knew every one of your songs. And so I looked cool to her because you came over and you're the most sung person ever. So that's a pretty cool title to hold. Well, it's like you should have a championship belt for that. Like every year.
Yeah.
You ever go into a church and they don't know it's you and they're singing your songs? Because that would be cool.
Yeah, that's happened a lot of
awesome.
times. A lot of times. That's probably the greatest privilege for me, man, honestly, is because there's something about it when somebody is taking, I have nothing to do with it, and they just take my song and they lead it. And and it's not me leading it, and it's for some reason they think this song is important or this song is special to people, and that means more to me than anything. So yeah, that's always like that motivation. Okay, keep writing these songs, and they're connecting with people.
The word of God is super important to you, spoken and through music. But do you ever cheat at golf?
Cheat at golf?
Yeah, you ever cheat at golf? Because that wouldn't be. You can't. You're Chris Tomlin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You ever cheat at golf?
The moral
Absolutely.
standards
You
are
do.
high.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I don't like what I'm hearing. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm telling you, when we say cheat, I'm talking about foot wedge, like out of the.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just asking. If I see Chris Tomlin cheat at anything, I'm like,
I do. I do give a little foot wedge out of the trees.
Good father, eh?
yes.
I do have to give a little foot wedge out of the trees.
I asked my wife. I was like, hey, what should we ask Chris to play? And she said, good father.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that she said. So, first of all, I'm super honored that you would come up here and play for us. There's like 6 of us here. It's like our own concert.
Yeah.
And you should introduce your player here.
So Daniel has been with me for 23 years.
Daniel, come on. Look at this. What up, Daniel?
Daniel is incredible. We've been together and traveled the world, all over the world, many times together. Daniel has 5 kids himself, just a great dad, but just been right there by my side for 23 years touring. And I've toured for almost getting close to 26, 27 years now, but Daniel's been with me for a long, long time.
Well, welcome, Daniel.
Yeah.
And so, man, that's a long time. He must be a pretty good boss. Or does he have a lot of dirt on you? It's one of the two, right? For 23 years. I mean, these guys have been with me for 12, 13, 14, 15 years, but they got the dirt. It ain't the boss thing. A couple things I want to do. First of all, let me tell everybody that, tonight you can watch on live stream even if you're not in Nashville. So that's the whole point of this, is to get it to as many people as possible. So it's the 7th annual Good Friday Nashville concert. So live stream on YouTube and Facebook beginning at 7 p.m. Central Time. And still get tickets at goodfridaynashville.com. And the YouTube and the Facebook, like whose? Do we know?
Mine.
You're just yours personal ones?
Mine.
So it's
Yeah.
Tomlin's.
okay.
Facebook, yeah.
So we're raising money for great causes.
Yes.
We have a positive message. We have great singing.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's all there. It's all
all
the
there.
ingredients.
It's all there.
Okay. Now I got a couple other things I want to say. First of all, Blessing and Chris, both of you, just kind of knowing your stories individually before together, there's a parallel that I'm sure you guys have connected. That Blessing, you talked about being a kid and you came to America because you were blind in one of your eyes, and when you lost vision in it, you started to play piano.
Indeed.
Now-
So technically, I started a little before.
But you like said you dialed into
Yeah,
it.
I
You
dialed in.
Let me
after.
go to Chris now. Chris, you got sick as a kid,
Yes.
and you have you guys talked about? And you got sick,
No,
and you
we
started.
haven't
I don't
about
think
this.
actually we have.
No, we haven't.
Chris,
Well-
are you also blind in one eye?
But you got really sick with was it like mono?
I got mono and I couldn't play baseball and they maybe all summer. I was in 4th grade, and I was 4th grade and I had to stay in the house all summer. And my dad said, "You're going to drive us crazy, and you got to do something. I'm going to teach you to play guitar." And so for that summer, the whole every day I would just sit at home. My brothers would go do their thing, and I'd sit home and I'd just work on the guitar. My dad would teach me every day. Would teach me something. He'd go to work. I'd come home and learn that. Next day, he'd teach me something else, and it was all that.
So what would seem to be something that was a really hard time in your lives for different reasons actually was a blessing when you look back later.
Yes.
That blessing had blessing got a blessing, but blessing had piano and it started, but then had that to really put his time, energy, passion into, and you the same with music there.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's how it works. A lot of times, I think.
That's how it works. Now I
Bobby,
know.
what?
There you go.
No one told you this, Bobby?
No, now I just learned. That's how it works. I want to tell one more Chris Tomlin story, if you don't mind. And Blessing, I don't know, would you like to accompany with a little bit of background music on piano?
Oh,
Just
man,
like
I would love
It's just
to.
a fun little
What-
Chris
what-
Tomlin story.
Okay,
doesn't-
so just
you can
something
you
fun.
just
Ready?
follow along, yeah. So Chris was over at the house, and we were talking about how it's got to be difficult to be a beloved artist that sings about the Word of God, and people just associate you with Jesus all the time, where people only want to act super proper around you, where they're just like, there's Chris Tomlin.
It's totally.
I'm going to be on my best behavior, right? That's what. And so
yeah.
just that difficulty of you just want to be a normal dude.
Yes.
Because I love Chris, and I've tried to Chris and I text a little bit. And,
Yeah.
Can you hang out? No. Can you? No. We go. Oh, we're on the road. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we were having this party at my house over Christmas, and we had all these fake casino people come in.
Is it as classy as this song is right
It's
now?
exactly classy enough. This is exactly the music. And so Chris and I just had this conversation, and I said to my wife, we should invite Chris and his wife over to this casino party we're having. I went, oh, it's gambling. My wife goes, you're doing exactly what you talked about. And so I said, oh, that's a great point. So I texted Chris, and I said, hey, Chris, you should come over. And he's on the road, sadly, or he didn't like the fake gambling. But I fell into that trap too, where I was like, it's fake gambling. We shouldn't invite Chris over because
Fun things are happening. Don't call Chris.
yes, it's too much fun. But I was a hypocrite, but didn't mean to be, because I was like, that's got to be hard, Chris. I would never do that to you. And I'm like, well, there's blackjack, so Chris probably doesn't want to come. That being said, I think you are just the friendliest. Like, you're one of the rare guys that I have met professionally. And I'm like, I want to be friends with that dude. So
Man, I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a guy. And
just a dude, just a guy.
And I'd love to come to that, and I was so honored that you would invite me, and I would totally enjoy it.
See, there we go. And
He
that's
would
Yeah.
especially enjoy because the gambling was.
we need
there
Blessing
was
all the
a-
time just playing music for our
I
show.
love it.
He's
I
like
got you, dude.
scoring the
Anytime.
show. Yes.
There was gambling, but it was
Not
all
real gambling.
Not real, but then also a donation was
Yeah, I
made.
donated a charity to whoever won the
Yeah.
most money.
I love that.
So see?
Even
Nothing-
better.
Nothing says
Yeah.
the Lord like charity.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm with you, brother.
Amen.
It's sinning for a good cause.
That's yeah. Okay, look. This is what I'm gonna say. Chris, you're just awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Blessing.
Yes, sir.
What an introduction. You sound so good. Your story is just Your story is wonderful.
Ooh.
I'm so glad you've been here with us. I want everybody to check out tonight.
Ready? We'll do this. We'll do.
7 p.m. All right, go to Chris Tomlin's YouTube and Facebook, the live stream if you're in Nashville. Tickets are up, and you go to goodfridaynashville.com, and let's do it. Guys, it's been awesome for me. I hope it's been fun for you.
Thanks,
Good to
Bobby.
see you guys.
Thanks.
Chris Tomlin, a blessing offer. Let's go.
Are we allowed to clap for ourselves?
You are. Yes, I encourage it.
It's about